What's up, y'all? Welcome to another successful Sundays. I'm of course your host, Coach AJ, Dope Life Coach, the dopest life coach out there. Wish I had some like sirens to go. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So today I want to talk about success and how success could be very challenging in many times. But I also want to touch base on something because I've been receiving some interesting messages, very racist messages this whole week. So on certain platforms, I had to reduce my videos just because they came after me, y'all. So this week, I made a video. It went viral. Just talking about racism and a certain influencer that made a remark, and I just said like, "Yo, you said what you said. Stand on it. Just stand on it." We see what it is. We've seen the the behaviors. Just kind of stand on it. And the amount of messages, just to give you an idea of what I received before I go into today's episode or session, I was told that I should off myself. First of all, they spelled yourself wrong, which I thought was interesting. But I was told in a message I received that I should off myself. Recently, I was told that I'm better off being on the plantation. I should be back in the field. Another one told me, they called me soft. That didn't really bother me. It was a bunch of messages I did receive. And it made me think about today's topic, which is success and how sometimes your success can ruffle some feathers because you're here to change and change the narrative of how some people think, and oftentimes it can make people very uncomfortable, especially if you look like me. I ain't gonna lie, appearance is so important in society, which is odd. Not the person who we are within, not your integrity, not your kindness. It's more, we live in a very appearance type society, which beats me because at the end of the day we all bleed red. So but that's where we are. I turned off the comments in the video because the comments were getting just filled with hate. And um my partner kind of just showed me how to do it because I've never had to do it before. I had to filter words. I've never had to filter the N word ever in my life. And I had to do it this week. Um I had to filter Black B. Never had to do that ever in my life, and I had to do that this week. There were certain words that I had to filter based off of the messages that I was receiving. Now, the reason why I'm even talking about this and kind of putting it with success is I know that who I am. I know what I'm about. And to receive those messages about the color of my skin made me think. I was like, okay, maybe I'm ruffling some feathers. So when I put it on other platforms, they're just, of course, people are outraged, upset, whatever. But I also thought about how I used to reply to stuff like that. I have two options. I can get mad or I could come with my sense of calmness where it honors myself. I can still be mad. I'm allowed to, right? But I realized, yo, where I am and who I am and what I've grown to be is uncomfortable to a lot of people. People who probably don't even know me. But based off of my appearance, that's what they're gonna go for. I was called a shim, so it's like a she and him mix. I was like, "Oh, that's creative. That's a new one. Um, that's very new." But it didn't even bug me. Someone talking about my hairline in one of my videos where I didn't even get a haircut recently at the time, and I was like, "Okay." Like, if you're gonna bypass the message that I gave in that video, and I gave the message of that video without a proper haircut because who gives a shit? It's all about the message in itself. The more that you grow, the more you're gonna make rooms exceptionally uncomfortable. The more that you become successful, you're gonna make and start some waves. Some people are not gonna like you just cause. What are you doing in this room is what they're gonna think. What are you doing on this platform? What do you this is what they're thinking. Success to them is linked a lot to monetary and a lot to numbers. Little do they know that I'm successful in many other ways, and we're going to talk about that today and how we deem success in life. So, why did I start off with that? It was just to kind of show you the more that you build, the more that you grow, the more that you heal, the more that you pour into yourself. Honestly, you will find yourself not giving a fuck. I don't care. I don't care anymore in terms of if I make people feel a little bit uncomfortable about things that are just filled with hatred, disrespect, I'm gonna call you out. And the reason why I feel that way is because I used to always be so silent in certain things, and I am no activist or nothing like that. No, because activist work is some serious and really I shout out to all the activists out there. But if I see something and something in my ancestral DNA is telling me, I'm gonna talk about it. I have a platform that I built and I'm gonna speak on it. So receiving those messages this week was really interesting and eye-opening that I'm shaking rooms. And I want you to know, going through moments of success, you're gonna shake rooms. But I also want to add in something. Being in rooms that make people feel uncomfortable, you deserve to be in those rooms too. You don't need a membership to be in rooms that have been built for everybody. You deserve to be in those exact rooms. So I want you to constantly think about that. There's going to be moments where some people are going to look at you side eye, like, "What are you doing in here?" And even if, let's say, for example, they don't want to let you in the room, chuck it up as cool and go build your own. Go build your own platform. Go build your own table. They inviting you? Okay. Go build your own. They don't feel like you fit in their environment? Cool. Go build your own. And I think that's one thing I've had to learn in terms of resilience. If you don't fit in an area, don't stay there too long. My mama always told me, if you have an inkling of not going somewhere, don't go. And if you're in a place where you feel like you shouldn't be there, then leave. I've always been brought up that way. And the difference, what I add to that as I got older was, oh, you don't want me in here, but guess what I'm about to go do? I'm going to go build my own. And I'm going to build it for the people that I know are going to want to be in this room. Now with that, let's talk about success for a moment. Because, we are successful Sundays, and I think oftentimes when we think about success, we link it to like just monetary value. But you know what? Success is not just all about that. And the question I want to ask you also today, I want you to think about it as we go through it is, are you prepared for success? Are you honestly feeling like the success that you're manifesting, the success that you're praying for, the success that you're being intentional about, ready, you're saying, I'm ready to align with it. Are you preparing yourself for it? Because with everything that we do, we need strategy. When you take something, for instance, that if you're building something for IKEA, and I'm saying IKEA because obviously building things for IKEA sometimes will drain your brain. Oh, Lord. Shout out to them though. But I want you to think about that for a moment. If you're building any piece of furniture, you have to have a strategy to do it. You have to have instructions to do it. You have to have something. So someone had to sit down and create a blueprint for you to build that piece of furniture. It's the same thing for life. The difference is you got to build your own blueprint. That's the beautiful part. You don't have to wait for somebody else to do it. You're going to be doing it yourself. So I want you to think about it. Am I prepared? Am I actually prepared for the success that I know is going to come? Going back, when we think about success, we think about the monetary aspect of success. And I realized as I take this do-rag off that I realized success is not about just money. You are success in your own way right now by just breathing. You're successful in that. You are successful in probably some habits that many people would love to attribute to, but you're doing them. You're successful probably because you have emotional maturity or emotional intelligence that someone would need or love to uphold. You could be successful in having healthy relationships around you, having that support around you, having that mental space and that mental peace around you and in your life. You could be successful by having spiritual clarity. Mm. And this all takes work. You could be successful by having a purposeful, intentional mindset. You see, success sometimes we just alluded to just money. I think I mean I did it myself. But when I realized that there's little pockets of success that you cannot buy, and there's little pockets of success that is more precious than money. Because the thing is, the relationships that you gain, the spiritual clarity that you have, the intentional alignment that you attract and you live on, the emotional maturity that you gain over the years cannot be bought by money. I can lose 50 bucks right now, but better yet, I can gain back $50. But if I can't, if I lose my time, I can't gain it back. If I lose my mental clarity, I can't really gain it back. I can't get it back what it was at that moment, but what I can do is grow moving forward. See, like we automatically think that money is the only and materialistic items is the only forms of success. But I want you to picture something for a moment. Let's say you have a person standing in front of you in a nice Calvin Klein or whatever type of suit, just expensive. Then you have another person, no shirt on, shorts, sitting on grass, meditating. You see, some people may think the person in the suit is so successful, but you don't even know that they are drowning in debt. They may have the nice car, the nice house, but you don't know that they're emotionally unstable at the moment. They look great from the outside, but internally they don't feel successful. Now, the person over there sitting on the grass meditating in shorts with no shirt on, let's say hypothetically, he's chilling. He's successful. He has $1 million business. He's meditating because he doesn't have to work every day. He gets to touch some grass and be one with nature because of the company that he built. And he built with his authentic self. This is what I'm talking about. We look at success in society based off of appearance versus looking at success in society in terms of internal integrity, the values that a person has, getting to know one. So I want you to think now for a moment when you say like am I fully prepared for the success that I want or am I already successful in the moment? Because chances are you probably are successful right now, but you constantly think that you are not because you are basing it off of what society deems as successful. Perhaps you're already there, and the success that you were trying to go after, the person who has that is wanting the success that you got right now. So I want you to think about also how your small thinking when it comes towards success can equal to small movement. Now, I ain't saying small movement's not bad. I mean, it's not horrible because you can make small steps. Know the difference. But if you are thinking small, your movement's gonna be small. This is why it's important for you to think big. Currently, right now, I'm working on 100 manifestation list. I've only made it to like 30 something. And I'm taking my time with it because I want to be intentional with this list. So, what I do is when the sun's going down, I grab my phone and I keep adding to it. What's the sun telling me? What's the earth telling me? What's nature telling me that I need to add to this list? What's important to me in this moment? And I ask you to do the same if I invite you to do the same if you're willing to. 100 manifestation list just to write out the things that you truly intentionally want. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when I first started that list, it was like just very vague words. And then I'm like, nah, I gotta be intentional. I went back. It took me longer because I went back. I was kept going on a sentence for the first one, the second, the third. Then I started like the thoughts of the things I want to manifest really were coming to light. Not just and I was no longer just thinking this on my list. I was thinking like let's go big or go home type of thought process. So I want you to think of the movement that you're making in your life right now. Is it small? Because if it's small and you want big movements, you're gonna have if you're making small thinking or having small thinking, you're gonna have small movements. You have to think big. We can't just be settling for just this. Start thinking about yourself like this. Okay, in your environments you grew up in, maybe they didn't think that way. Break it. Break that cycle. Break that thought process. Break that mindset. Maybe they lived in fear a lot because I get it. At that time, maybe you got immigrant parents like I do. Their thought process is so different compared to mine. There's some things that I definitely carry with me as I get older, but their thought process is so different compared to mine. They weren't really they were willing to take risks. Don't get me wrong, but at a certain threshold, me, I'm like, I'm gonna push it. And it was switching my mindset of thinking the way they did to make those movements because they would say, play it safe. This is the safe line. Me, I'm like, nah, let's push a little bit further. Let's test the waters. Let's see what it's like on the other side. So if you're thinking small, your movement's going to be small. If you're making small habits, then what do you think the results are going to be? You have to start thinking big and moving big. That's a part of success too. And I don't mean just, again, not just money, other movements you could be making in your life, pushing the bar just a little bit further. Think about that 1%. Push it here. Oh, okay. It's not uncomfortable. All right, whatever. Push it a little bit further. I'll give you an example for those who work out or whatever you're working on, or you're in school or something, right? When you first start, you're dragging your feet. Especially if you're an adult, you go back to school or you start lifting weights all over again, start working out. You are dragging your feet, but the moment you get a groove and you keep going, you don't feel as if like it's uncomfortable anymore. You just want to keep on pushing. You want to keep going. So I want you to think about that. Raise the bar in your life. You can't do this. You got to go here. Start thinking big. The way that you used to think as a child. We lost that because of responsibilities. We lost that because society kind of tried to break us down from that. But I'm saying bring that back in. Start thinking big again. Not here, here. So let's talk about how not preparing yourself can be just a little bit dangerous. Or we don't think have a strategy and stuff like that. And I know in the beginning you may not even know where to begin. And sometimes you're just beginning with a piece of paper and a pen and a thought and God. I get that. But also understand that there's spaces where you could put yourself in and place yourself in to prepare. You can have the right level of power, but the wrong level of preparation, right? So I want you to think about not sharing everything you're doing publicly. We have a habit sometimes, and I know you've probably seen many people like myself say, like, talk about it till it's done. It's important for you to do that. There's some people preying on your downfall right now. I saw a video of a young lady where she graduated as an art and her I guess someone threw her a graduation party. And of course, lo and behold, her family was pretty much saying like, "I never thought you would graduate. I always thought that you weren't able to amount to much," and just putting the girl down. And immediately I said, "Sometimes you don't got to tell nobody what you're doing. Sometimes you just got to pop on them and let them think, let them make their judgment." Because whatever their negative responses towards you has nothing to do about you. That's about them. That's their own insecurities. That's their own situations that they got to figure out within themselves. They got nothing to do with you. That got everything to do with themselves. So I want you to think about that part in terms of preparing. Who are you really going to tell? Who are you going to keep it like who are you keeping it from? Visibility invites scrutiny. And I'm going to talk about social media for a moment here. Not everything needs to be posted. Not everything. Even if you had a successful run, not everyone needs to know. We are in this day and age where we take pictures of every piece of celebrations. I've had many celebrations in the back end that nobody knows about, only the closest people to me. And I keep it that way because not everything is meant for the public to know. There's some things that you can keep to yourself. There's some things that you can just hold to yourself. You don't got to tell everyone about it. But at the same time, I want you to think about when preparing and creating strategies could lead you to settling. Kind of going back to when I said, don't think here, think here. If you want this, you can't just settle for this. Do you see how much space? I can't put my alarm on, but you see how much space is there with this little? Because many of us in our life, we want this and we settle here. We settle for the status quo. We settle for what's in front of us. We settle for the bare minimum while we still dream here. So we are literally standing in a space of this much while accepting this. Start putting more respect on your name. Start realizing that your success is deemed bigger than what you're accepting. Don't accept this. You aim for this, go for it, man. Go for it. All right, I'm going to give you an affirmation that I want you to think about for this week. I'm becoming the person my future requires. I'm becoming the person my future requires. I'm becoming the person my future requires. Man, I know when I started all of this, me being on camera it was not my thing. Me building a platform, me building a brand, I don't think the thought process really entered my head so much. It was just coaching and helping people. That was it. I never thought the scope of it. And I used to always tell myself I'm not ready. I've started so many things and said, "Whoop, not gonna happen. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that." But primarily I said that because I was terrified. Not so much of it failing, because you fail, okay, you push it aside, keep pushing, of it blowing up and me having to maintain it. And that's the thing about success that we forget, the maintenance. So this is what I did was I prepared myself. I wrote out the strategy for it to work for me in my lifetime of where I am. And every so often, about every 3 months, I revisit how I'm doing. I mean, technically, I reflect every week, which helps. What's working, what's not working is what I always ask myself. What are we celebrating? And what do we need to still work on moving forward to start celebrating soon? So I want you to think about that for a moment. Maybe there's something right now that you know will more than likely take off, but you're terrified because you haven't prepared for it. And that's okay. You can start with just success in your personal life that you probably already have a lot that you just bypass every day because that's what we do as humans. We get into this hamster wheel type thought process and we forget how blessed we really are and how grateful we should really be with the things that we have before we get the things that we want. So I want you to do a quick weekly challenge this week. It shouldn't take much of your time. Choose one area of your life that you're one area of your life this week that you're trying to prepare yourself for better finances, health, business, relationship. Maybe in relationships, you start healing a bit more and working through not just relationship with other people, maybe relationship with yourself. You feel me? Business, create a system. Okay. Create a strategy. And I could happily help you with that. Health, go to the doctors, maybe get a full physical, get yourself checked out. Finances, start tracking your spending, get a budget. I have an episode on it where I'm paying off debt right now. Go check it out. I'll link it in the description. But I want you to also just remember, and I want you to walk with that this week. Success doesn't just look like monetary value. Success could be even bigger than that. Success could be you showing up for yourself every damn day on the days you don't want to, and showing for others every damn time on the days you straight up don't want to. Success is magical, but you can deem what is success, not what society is. You deem what success looks like for you, not what society makes it look like. And I want you to remember that this week and moving forward. All right. All right, y'all. You have a very, very dope week. I hope you're able to get some gems out of today's session and start looking at your life as it already is successful. Already. You're already successful as is. And it's important that you even start manifesting and saying that and using that in affirmation that you are successful because you are. You are. You don't need society to tell you that you're successful. You don't need anyone around you to tell you what it looks like. Success looks like what it wants to look like for you in your life. You understand? All right, y'all. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's session. I will see you on Tuesday. Dope Life Podcast, new episode. I hope you have a dope week. Walk with peace, walk with love.